this is Bunny, and this is a pram. I put it on this bed because I don't know where else to put it. I'm pregnant at 26 and a half, or more than a half weeks now, almost 27 weeks. And this is not the bed I personally or my husband sleeps in. This is a guest bed, but if any guests arrive or anybody who needs to use the bed arrives, of course I'm not going to keep this here. But with that said, this is a response video to my husband's anxiety vlog. He titled it Bunny and the Anxiety Vlog, and we were supposed to respond to each other, and that's what I'm doing right now. And you can check out his channel and his vlog in the doobly-doo down there, and he's going to be responding to mine. And yeah, so I've watched it a few times, and I've written and I've wanted to talk about some things he has mentioned in his video. Senpai that's what I call my husband, discussed about how he describes his agoraphobia to other people, even to professional people who work with mental health on a regular basis, and that's how rare agoraphobia is. But not necessarily rare, but not really discussed, because people with agoraphobia tend to not see therapists or counselors or psychiatrists. And I imagine that to be extremely frustrating, and especially the part when they suggest, oh, if you go out more, it will help you more, or if you go out to this online program, it will help you. And it's like, you have to go out to the online program, or you have to go out, period. And it's, people don't seem to see the point that agoraphobia is having a lot of difficulty or almost impossibility to leave the house. Nowadays, with technology, we can buy groceries online, we can buy stuff from Amazon and so many other websites. I cannot imagine what it'd be like to be a full-blown agoraphobic, I don't know, 20 years ago. I forgot to mention that I believe in the video you mentioned how people who would try to help, like therapists, would say, go out and do this or see this person, but you can't because you're agoraphobic, and that you needed something in order to get to that point. I was wondering what you meant by that something, like a different type of medication, online help for free, or is there something you think that I can do to get you to go out more, or feel more comfortable to go out more? And even though I'm not diagnosed as agoraphobic, I feel that I exhibit agoraphobia on a daily basis, because I have a lot of trouble leaving the house as well, and I also do have anxiety. My symptoms are very different. I don't have problems with my gut or diarrhea, and I just can't imagine having anxiety and then having those bowel problems. I think that would just make things a lot worse on top of what you're already experiencing. So even though I live with you, Senpai, I still can't really put myself in your shoes. I imagine that it's very hard to live in your body, reacting the way it does sometimes. And going back to how agoraphobia is often misunderstood, I think, yeah, even people who experience anxiety misunderstand other people's experience of anxiety. Just because I experience anxiety doesn't mean like I know exactly how each and every single person who's ever had anxiety, social or otherwise, feels. And as you know, Senpai, I am part of the Agoraphobia group on Facebook, and I believe when you asked me why I was in the Agoraphobia group, I answered because I wanted to understand you better, but it was mostly, to be honest, to connect with people who I thought, shared a very similar experience to what I did. And as I said, I feel that there are times when it's very difficult for me to leave the house, and I feel like safety for me is a big issue, and the trauma of being the trauma I experienced from high school was really bad. And I'm mostly in that group for a bit of, I guess, catharsis. Am I using that word correctly? Um, to basically get a sense of not feeling alone. Even reading the posts I see there, and then living with someone such as yourself who is diagnosed agoraphobic, I see so much diversity in personalities, in types of people, and it's very comforting in a way. And Senpai, you mentioned that you are seen by other people as being kind of outgoing or extroverted, and you said in your video that is for you to cope with the fact that you're outside and you fought so hard that you overdo it. And I have definitely noticed that as well. And in a way, I admire it. And I don't mean to be like, oh, you should be happy that you are able to use that personality to be outgoing, or that's not what I'm saying at all. It's just in a way that I do admire your coping mechanism compared to my coping mechanism, which is a little bit to shut down and fade into the shadows and not try to be noticed at all. Because a coping mechanism that where you seem more sociable from the outsider's perspective looks more attractive than someone that is trying to get away or not be noticed as much. But I understand that regardless of what type of coping mechanism it is, a coping mechanism is still a coping mechanism, which is trying to hide or protect something very vulnerable. And Senpai, you mentioned the stitches that you received when you were younger, and I cannot imagine that experience at all, because I've never seen my bones at all, so I've never been in that great of physical pain, and being poked or sewn through 30 plus times. I've never received stitches in my life. I don't think I've ever broken a bone in my life, so what you've gone through, it's understandably traumatic, and it's understandable that even though it happened when you were 5 years old, that you are still experiencing that trauma emotionally. It is extremely traumatic to have gone through that, and it makes perfect sense why you would feel that way. I remember actually you mentioning it before I watched the video, and I mentioned the completion process, which it's very hard to describe, so forgive me if I'm not selling it very well, but of course I'm not forcing you to do anything that you don't want to do. But basically it's a type of hypnotism, and the book I've been reading, you can perform it on yourself, but it's highly recommended that somebody else who's familiar with the process guides you through it. There are actually certified completion process practitioners who have been trained to facilitate other people, and often their job is to work with them on Skype or some sort of online video platform as a form of therapy. Basically, you connect with your inner child, and instead of reliving the trauma and feeling the negative sensations in your body, you feel it and then you alter it by changing the memory. There are 18 steps, so I'm not going to go through it in detail in this video, but by the end, the child, depending on what the child responds to when the memory is altered, that they either merge within you, so they go back into the adult self. That's why they call it the completion process, because there are parts of you that are fragmented, that are causing you to relive certain traumas that might not be literally you cutting your wrists every day, but experiencing the sensation of that trauma every single day. So basically it cuts the cord or cuts the pattern. So when you are in a situation where you would normally have that reaction, it doesn't come out physically, mentally the same way it did anymore, because you went back to the source, which is your 5-year-old self, altered the memory, had them merge back into your body, and you are more of a complete person. I hope that made sense. There's a video of it it's over an hour long, and sometimes it can take up to 2 hours, and sometimes you have to do the same session over and over again, because sometimes a child doesn't want to merge with you, or sometimes it will take time to gain the child's trust in the memory. Since you mentioned that you feel that the source was what happened when you were 5, that's really a good place to start and to work on. It's something tangible to work on. You're already in, like, I don't know, step 8 of 18, if you already know where it started. I hope this video made sense, and I hope I wasn't rambling too much and made it all about me. I was afraid that might happen, but this is my response to my senpai. I love you, and I will have to do a lot of editing because cars keep passing by. And see you in the next video. Bye!